If you're an author or plan to be one, get excited because this podcast is for you. Book Marketing Mentors is the only podcast dedicated to helping you successfully market and sell your book. If you're ready for empowering conversations with successful marketing mavens, then grab a coffee or tea and listen in to your host, international best-selling author Susan Friedman.
Welcome to Book Marketing Mentors, the weekly podcast where you learn proven strategies, tools, ideas, and tips from the masters. Every week, I introduce you to a marketing master who will share their expertise to help you market and sell more books. Today, my special guest is Kimberley Wells Eley, also known as Kim Possible. She's the founder of KWE Publishing, where she transforms aspiring authors into published stars. With over 20 years of publishing expertise, Kimberley is a master at guiding writers from the spark of an idea to a captivating finished book. Her passion for storytelling and a knack for amplifying unique voices make her the ultimate partner for authors looking to make an impact. Kimberley's energy, creativity, and publishing savvy help turn authors' dreams into bestsellers. She's a cat lover and a collector of orchids. And guess what? She gets all of her news from comedy shows. Kim, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to the show, and thank you for being this week's guest expert and mentor.
Oh my goodness, Susan, thank you so much for inviting me to join you.
My pleasure. I think it's so much fun. I know that obviously a lot of our business overlaps, and that's okay. And I know that you have expertise in so many different areas that, I'm learning. And one of those areas is one that I want to focus on with you, and that is pre-order campaigns. So I always like to start with the basics. Can you explain why a pre-order campaign is important for authors and how that can impact sales on the launch day?
I absolutely love this topic of pre-orders because I think it's really juicy. The reason why I believe pre-orders are important is because it's yet another great way to get the word out as soon as possible. Susan, you know this from working with your amazing clients. A lot of times people will say, when should I start marketing? And I'm like, as soon as you have the idea for the book.
That's a tough one for many authors, as you know, because they're so focused on writing the book and getting it out there that having that thought of marketing is like sort of another world for them.
It really is. You're so right. And I think it's difficult sometimes because as authors, we get in our own heads when we're in the writing space. And that's a good thing. We want to stay focused. The thing I love about marketing, and in particular, thinking about pre-ordering books, is if you want to sell your book, and hello, everybody who's an author who publishes, that's part of our goal is to get the book out there. We have to start putting our mindset a little bit differently and focus not just on the writing. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but you want to put your creative brain into a new headspace and think, what if I was my own ideal reader? What would I want to read about? What would interest me? So that can include many aspects of, I'm going to call it pre-marketing your book, which can include how you write the description of the book. Are you writing it in such a way that if you pulled up this book online, you were like, oh, snap, I've got to read this book. Putting yourself in that mindset of, almost stepping out of yourself as the writer and stepping into, let's call it your alter ego for fun, stepping into your alter ego of, imagine I'm wanting to read my own book. What are some things I can do that are enticing, are really, really fun? And Susan, I imagine you're probably an avid reader as well as I am.
Correct.
One of my favorite things is when I see one of my favorite authors who is coming out with a new book and I see it's available for pre-order. I have some sort of Pavlovian response where I'm absolutely drooling at my phone and I'm like, yes, please. I need that book and I need it now. I think it's the anticipation is the first part of why making your book available for pre-order is important, because it's like a child waiting for their birthday or for Christmas or Hanukkah. They're like, hot diggity dog. Half of the anticipation is what's going to be under my tree. I like to think of pre-ordering as putting your book under your Christmas tree or your Hanukkah bush or wherever your birthday presents go. And you're like, I can't wait to dive into this.
I love that visual. It's great. Now, I'm going to say, are there sort of some specific steps an author should be taking to go into that pre-launch mindset and then obviously into actually planning out that pre-launch campaign?
Most definitely. One thing I love to do with our awesome authors is to think right from day one, idea stage, about what I called your strategic plan. And it sounds a lot fancier than it really is. It's three main questions that you want to have in your mind as you are preparing your book. And that's, what is my intention? Meaning, what does success look like to me as an author? The second part is, what is my message? After somebody reads my book, what do I want them to think about or do or act upon differently? Especially with nonfiction. And then the third one is, who's my ideal reader? I think as authors, we would really love for the world to want to read our book, but really there's going to be specific people who resonate with our book topic more than anybody else. And as you're writing your book, that's important to think about those things. But it also is important as you're starting to market as well, as you're starting to think about, again, putting yourself into the fun alter ego of, oh, my ideal reader, you know what? She really, really, let's say it's a nonfiction book about cats. She is a huge cat fan, but she already owns cats. She doesn't specifically want to know about owning cats. Maybe she wants to learn how to, and Susan, I swear you have seen this. Well, I've seen it with dogs. I haven't seen it with cats, where people will dye their animals really wild tie-dye colors. Have you ever seen this?
I have not, but it sounds pretty amazing. I don't know how you'd get a dog to comply with that, but hey, I've seen them dressed up in fun outfits, but not actually dyeing them. That's wild.
Dyeing them fascinating colors. Again, I'm not sure if they've done this with cats. Maybe I'm going to change my nonfiction topic. As a cat owner myself, I can't imagine them being patient enough for that. But anyway, I digress. What I'm saying is, getting specifically into the mindset of your reader. Maybe it's not just cats in general. Maybe if you are doing a book specifically, about dogs, thinking about who is the person who is going to be specifically looking for the topic of dyeing my dog's hair rainbow colors. So immediately I'm thinking dog groomers, right? Those are the ones who are probably going to be answering those calls. People who are really into fashion and they need their dog to keep up with them fashion-wise. I mean, a little bit silly here, but I'm also serious, because when you are thinking about who is the person who's going to be your raving fan, who's like, hot dang, I've got to get my hands on this book because I'm going to take my dog. There's an exclusive airline that is specifically for dogs. This part is true. And people will take them on exotic trips with them. Those people would probably be the ones who would be the perfect readers of a dog grooming, tie-dye color, dog coloring book manual.
No wonder you get your news from comedy shows. I can see this coming out. I'm going to go back to those three wonderful questions that you gave us.
Yes.
Very similar. I asked two questions. I always ask, number one, who's your niche market? Who's your target market? Because often people don't understand the word niche, but who is your ideal reader, as you said? And then what do you want the book to do for you? because I
Ooh.
think that too allows you to start thinking in terms of a marketing plan. So you talk about a strategy plan and to think about, well, again, do you just want to sell books, which most people don't make money on books, as we know.
True.
However, do you want to do speaking? Do you want to do training? Do you want to produce other products as a result of it, online courses? That's where you're more likely to make some money with the book. So
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
that thinking, as you're talking about that mindset and that focus, is also very important. And in the early stages, because it's all part and parcel of this. And as we know, unfortunately, marketing doesn't get thought about. It's almost like that distant relation.
Yes, you are
It's,
so right.
yeah, it's unfortunate. It isn't as sexy as bringing the book out, I think.
I think you're right. I think the writing process and the big launch part seem more sexy than the market. But you know what? I absolutely love what you're saying, Susan, because it is that different mindset. And one of the things, and I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but I thought it was brilliant, was your book needs to work for you, especially your nonfiction book. And what I mean by that is treat your book like a business. Let's say you're a speaker, and part of your intention for writing your book is to brand yourself as an expert in your field, to reach and connect with clients and maybe specifically event planners who will hire you for a gig. How can you put your book to work for you? Pre-ordering is a brilliant way because it's like, hot dog, my book is available and coming out, and here it is. And I have my act together. I am so organized that it is ready 2 months in advance. And people want it and they are going to purchase it in advance. That looks great to an event planner. You can also put your book to work for you in other ways. You can send that book, again, if you're a speaker and you want to book more gigs, send advanced reader copies. Susan, let's pretend you're an event planner. I could send you a book and be like, Dear Susan, I want you to have an exclusive advanced reader copy. My book doesn't come out until November 1st, but you know what? I want you to be one of the first people to read it because I know as soon as you read this book, you're going to want to hire me and have me in front of your people.
That's wonderful. I think so many authors would aspire to that because that's a great strategy. Now, I know that obviously good old Amazon does pre-order sales, but how else, you're sending it to a meeting planner, how else can you instigate some pre-orders?
Oh, absolutely. Let's say you are a coach or a consultant and you are attending networking events. You can start promoting your book and discussing it and even bring with you. I love to have a pre printed sheet that says and announce to the meeting, you guys, my book is coming out November 1st. I want you to be one of the very, very first to receive this because you all at this networking group are so important to me. If you go ahead and register, put your name and information, I'll go ahead and send you a copy of the book signed before it even comes out. That's another way that you can have people pre-order before it's available.
Yeah. I mean, I know as soon as the cover is done, I say to authors, get that cover done because with the cover, at least the front cover of the book, you can put it in your signature on your
Yes,
email. I mean, that's sort of free real estate.
absolutely.
You can make postcards made. I'm going to do that for an author and just have postcards made and a way to pre-order the book. Or just say I'm
Fantastic.
interested when the book actually comes out.
Absolutely. Love it. You can also do pre orders. You can use it through social media. You can have say, a contest and award someone a copy of your book. Other ways that you can make your book work for you is you can start including snippets. I love to do little excerpts, little nuggets of wisdom from our authors' nonfiction books and start sharing that early. And then once you have that pre-order link, share the link with potential readers. One nice thing, and I'm saying this, it's a little bit slightly, well, it's still related, it's not off topic, is a lot of our authors will use Instagram, but sometimes Instagram, well, not sometimes, Instagram allows you to use one link within your bio. So I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but just sharing FYI, you can get what's like a smart bio. I use one through a company called Tailwind, and the smart bio allows you to have one link that you use in your Instagram biography that will, when someone clicks on it, take you to multiple links. So if you have, let's say your book is coming out on pre-order, that can be one of your links. And you can have a link to your own author website, things like that. So I just thought I would share that tidbit.
I like that. It sounds similar to another program called Linktree, I think, where you can have multiple links to different sites. So yes. Those are two great resources, listeners, Tailwind or Linktree, especially for Instagram or anywhere else where you want to put multiple links that is all in one. Yeah, excellent. What about mistakes that you see authors make here?
With pre-ordering, I think sometimes authors get excited and they're so eager to have the book ready for pre-order that they don't allow themselves enough time.
Yeah, time is a big one.
It definitely. And with marketing, but especially with pre-orders, you want to allow enough time so that you can get the word out and you can start developing a buzz. I love the expression, don't plant seeds today and expect to eat salad tomorrow.
Mm.
And that's how I feel about marketing and pre-orders is if you have been heads down working on your book, especially, and authors, I feel you on this. I'm the heads down kind of gal where I'm like, okay, I'm ready now. I've been spending, a year and a half on this book, and now I'm ready to tell everybody. Well, not everybody's ready to hear your message yet. You need to kind of warm them up. It's like going to a nice party. You don't want to just be rushed in and immediately sat down for a dinner party. You want to come in. You want to have maybe a cocktail or a tonic water. You want to have maybe a little nibble. And then everybody gathers around the table to eat. I like that analogy for marketing. When you're marketing your book, you want to start off with, hey, Susan, you know what? I have something really cool that I'm going to share with you next week. Everybody loves a good surprise, right?
I love it. Yes. And any kind of curiosity too. Those little teasers, as you said, about the book, things that you wanted to share, maybe pose it as a question even, sort of put it out there. What do you expect if I tell you this? Maybe even a competition.
Oh, absolutely. We've done fun things like we've had authors have sharing 3 different cover designs, and we're like, hey, help me out here, vote and tell me what your favorite one is. It's also really good beta research, but it also makes people feel engaged and involved and excited. The last thing you want to do is, and I laugh when I say this because somebody told me that the worst thing you can do is booty call marketing. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yes. Booty call marketing. Yes. No. You do not want to get a name for being on that list.
You want relationship marketing. You want to be the person who has a group of excited people. You were asking about mistakes. I think one error that people make is neglecting to bring in your own launch team. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be your friends and your family. I know I have a couple of people who anything positive, and I love these people, anything positive I put out there, they are my cheerleader. They're going to put it on the megaphone and say, Kim wrote a book. Think ahead of time and be aware of those people and organize them and contact them and say, you know what, Susan, my book comes out November 1st. What I would really love is when I share it on social media, could you share it on your social media too?
Yeah, it's to get that team of people working for you, right? Because you're an army of one. Every time you reach out to somebody who's be willing to share, you're then also reaching out to their contacts. That's going to multiply exponentially when you've
Definitely.
got, 10, 20, 30, 40. I do the Kindle bestseller program for many of my authors for the ebook.
Awesome.
And what I found over the years of doing this is it's so much easier and less stressful when the author has a team. Well,
Yes.
I like 30 or 40 people. And as you say, they're going to put it out to their list. And on the day that the book goes out, promotion for 99 cents, then your launch team helps with that process. And
Yes.
yeah, they can get national, international bestseller status. That's helpful. Is it going
Yes.
to necessarily sell more books? Not necessarily. However, it does establish you as being out there in the marketplace, and several hundred people in one day have got your book. And that
Yes.
in turn could go out to other people. So, yes.
Most definitely. I think having that team and thinking ahead of time, and just as you and I are avid readers, I imagine a lot of your listeners are as well. And just think about, who do you go to ask about books? I have several friends who are my book friends because I trust their opinion. And if they tell me, oh, Kim, you've got to get this book, well, snap, I'm there.
Yeah, me too. As you say, I've got certain people I turn to because I know that the genre book that they read is very similar to what I would read. But I did get a fiction recommendation from my brother, and normally my brother's taste is like 180 degrees from mine. But this book was amazing.
Oh,
Yes, The
good.
Book of Lost Names. So
Ooh, I haven't heard of that.
historical fiction, but I
Oh,
loved it. It's one of
awesome.
those can't put it down books.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, they're
Awesome.
really good. However, nonfiction doesn't always fall into that category of I can't put it down. However, you are sharing valuable information. Like you said, if you can share some snippets beforehand and sort of whet people's appetite, then yes, you may not get salad the following day, but give it a few weeks and you'll get the salad. And with the dressing and
Exactly.
the toppings and everything else. Yes. I
Exactly.
do
Love
love
it.
that though. Don't plant seeds and expect salad tomorrow. I love that. I often use the bamboo metaphor because bamboo takes 7 years before you actually see it coming out of the ground. But then
Wow.
once it comes out of the ground, it can shoot up to 100 or more feet. And
Wow.
so you keep planting the seeds, and eventually things start to root.
Ooh, I love that. That's a
Mm,
fantastic. Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
but you got to be patient and persevere. It's not, well, I tried that and it didn't work. Well, it may not work today, it may work tomorrow, or it didn't work for 2 days, but the third day it might work. That's the trouble
Yes,
with marketing. It's an inexact science. And it depends on all sorts of things, from the weather to
definitely.
politics to anything, people's mood. I mean,
Yes,
you just never know. I would say you just keep persevering and try it and be willing to try other things, and come back to trying something that you've tried before, but maybe give it a different twist, or it might
definitely.
resonate with one group better than another.
Most definitely. I love that. I think that's an error that people make. Be willing to be aware of the different impacts that could be out there, but also, even though often when our authors first launch their books, I'm going to call it the biggest bang, is usually right at the book launch because, people are excited, it's brand new. But books don't expire. You can still continue to use your book. Again, make your book work for you. Think of it as part of your business. What else can you do with your book to continue to get the words out there? You can use your own words and write an article and submit it. You can use it as a launching pad for a training course. You can use it as a way to connect with others, have it as part of a book club. Depending on what it is, books are so versatile. And I love seeing books that have been well loved and reused. Reused, that doesn't sound very good, but read over and over because they really work. I'm in a group right now and we're rereading The Go-Giver, which is a wonderful nonfiction book. And it's timeless in my opinion. And even though I've read it before, I'm picking up on things that I haven't. So I think there's lots of different ways that we can continue to make those books evergreen. And if we believe in what we say, and I know we do as authors because we put so much time and love and sweat and effort into it, continue, put that out there. Don't rest until you feel like the people who need to hear the message in your book have heard it. Because I almost guarantee you, I believe every one of us who's been called to write have a unique voice and the message to deliver. And there's a reader out there who may have read other books on the topic, but it didn't resonate with them until they will read your book.
Yes. I mean, we all say things in different ways. It might be saying the same thing. It's in just different ways and it appeals to different people that way. So on that note, Kim, how about sharing with our listeners how they can get hold of you?
Absolutely. I love talking books and I love talking publishing. So if you'd like to talk, reach out to me. My website is the best way to get a hold of me. And that is KWEPUB.com. My company is KWE Publishing, so it's shortened. So KWEPUB.com. And I also have a special gift that I would like to offer to your listeners. And that is an amazing ebook that we've created, which is How Do I Know When It's Time to Publish My Book? And I often will have writers who are like, well, doggone it, I've been working on this. And when do I know it's time to publish? I'm happy to share that with y'all as a gift.
That's wonderful. That's really generous. Thank you. And I'll put that information in the show notes for listeners if they don't happen to have a piece of paper handy. We always leave off with our guests sharing a golden nugget, words of wisdom to our listeners. And what's yours, Kim?
I would say the golden nugget would be keep going. Often things that we think will take less time or we think should take less time actually take more time. But the richness of life, the richness in sharing books and sharing wisdom is patience. And I'm going to call it cheerful relentlessness, meaning go out there, continue sharing about your message. You may feel like you've shouted it from the rooftops 20 times, but you know what? Keep on sharing that message because you were called to share it for a reason. And that somebody out there needs to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, never stop. I mean, it doesn't matter how old the book is. You can keep marketing it and keep selling it. Because if it is evergreen, like you mentioned before, I love that word evergreen because the more evergreen your material, the longer life it can live because it's evergreen. So
Definitely.
I love that, Kim. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. It's been so much fun. I love it.
Oh, this has been so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, listeners, if your book isn't selling the way you wanted or expected to, let's you and I jump on a quick call together to brainstorm ways to ramp up those sales because you've invested a whole lot of time, money, and energy, And it's time you got a return you were hoping for. So go to bookmarketingbrainstorm.com to schedule your free call. And in the meantime, I hope this powerful interview sparks some ideas you can use to sell more books. Until next week, here's wishing you much book and author marketing success.